Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Alan Bingham, aka Sax-bit, coming at you live from the Nerd Cave. Today I've got a little bit different of a type of video for you. It's going to spotlight a product, the DualSense Edge, and also a bit of a complaint that I have against Sony. So without further ado, let's go into the video. This is the DualSense Edge. It's both the topic of today's discussion and one of my favorite controllers in my entire collection. Just a brief overview before we get into the actual issue that's going on. It's basically like a regular DualSense controller, which is the standard controller for the PS5. But you can see a few things on the back side that are a little bit different, that are more pro controller options. You've got these two paddles that you can program any button on the entire controller to be assigned to these. And then also, since the triggers on every PlayStation controller in existence have really deep travel distance, you can adjust that with these sliders. And so I actually have mine to where I have 0 travel distance, so it's very, very clicky and very responsive. So I really like that. But anyway, though, it's a great controller overall, and I've had it for a little less than 2 years. I got this thing in December of 2023, and it's currently October of 2025. And I'm highly OCD, so I take care of my possessions, especially electronics and video game related stuff. This controller has not been abused in any kind of capacity. And the only thing I can say is I use it a lot, especially now that I'm a Ninja Gaiden Ragebound speedrunner. I definitely use this a lot, and I specifically use the back right paddle. I know it looks like it's left on the screen, but it's because the controller is flipped around. But for me, my right middle finger goes on this, and I use this tremendously because I assign this to the dodge command. And the issue that I'm running into, and I just noticed this last night, is when I press this, it's kind of sticky. Like it's slow in its spring back. This is specifically just a mechanical issue. This is not. There's nothing programming related. Resetting the controller does not help. So I believe there's some kind of a spring issue going on here. I have taken this out because these are both held in there magnetically. So if I take it out, I can look in the hole and see if there's any kind of gunk or whatever without fully taking the controller apart. And it looks clean to my naked eye. And plus, I keep my controller clean. I always wipe it down periodically with alcohol wipes. So, I really don't know what's going on with this other than possibly the spring mechanism is going out. And, right now it is springing back into place, but it is a little bit slower than this side because this one I barely use. But this one's a little bit slower, and sometimes it flat out gets stuck. And so if I'm in the middle of a speed run and this thing gets stuck, that is a big problem because you do a lot of dodge rolling in a speed run of Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. So, and the thing is, I know I could just map it to a different button, but I've been doing this for a couple of months now, and this is what my muscle memory is used to. And plus, this is simply just the most comfortable place for me to put it. Virtually any video game I play, whether I'm speedrunning or not, I always map whatever dodge command they have to this button. It just feels right to me. So anyway, this has become a bit of a problem, and so I just wanted to show you guys on camera exactly what's going on. So obviously this is a really big problem from a speedrunning perspective. I really want to continue to stay competitive on Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, but if I am unable to properly use one of these paddle buttons on the backside of the controller, it really impedes my progress quite a bit. In fact, I even hopped in the Discord today and was telling guys that I might have to slow down for a little while until I get the situation resolved. As far as the resolution goes, I went to Sony, first and foremost, because I figured the best thing to do is go to the first party manufacturer, right? And of course, I knew that this thing was over a year old, and most manufacturer warranties are a year. So I figured, okay, surely they've got some kind of a paid repair option, and I was more than happy to do something like that. I had no problem with that. I totally respect warranties. I respect the meaning behind them and the length that they have. I think that a 1-year warranty is pretty reasonable for free repairs and stuff. But I also feel like honestly, 2 years is still not a long time for a controller to be fully functional before it starts to break down like that, especially when it's not been abused. So I figured it's not really out of the ordinary to have a first party manufacturer give a reasonably priced paid repair option. So I called Sony today and I explained the situation to them. Once again, I was not trying to fish for anything free. And they asked me a lot of information like the model number, the serial number, and the controller, et cetera, et cetera. And then they asked me when I got it, and I told them I went back in my Amazon account and told them that it was December something of 2023. And so anyway, they finally, at the end of the conversation, after we did a couple of minor troubleshooting things, which was, once again, take the paddle out, look inside the hole, see if it's got any kind of gunk or anything in there. And that was one part of the troubleshooting. The other thing was he said to reset the controller. And I was like, that's not going to do any good. I mean, this is not a programming issue, so resetting the software on the controller isn't going to do squat. It is specifically a mechanical issue. He goes, okay, well, we have to go through those troubleshooting steps. And he goes, based off of when you got this controller, it is out of warranty, and unfortunately, we only repair products that are within warranty. And I was blown away. I'm thinking, surely this company would like to get a little bit of extra money out of me by me paying for a repair. But I guess really what the strategy is they want to get more money out of me for getting a brand new controller altogether, because this is a $200+ controller. So anyway, with that being said, I was very angry, very upset, and asked to speak to a supervisor, hoping that maybe the supervisor would have some authority within the system to be able to kind of go outside of normal guidelines and make some kind of an exception. I know that if you contact Amazon, a lot of times the regular customer service person you get won't be able, they have very small limits on what they can do, but if you speak to a supervisor, they can do much, much more. So anyway, I tried to go that route, and the supervisor literally told me the exact same thing. And I said, so what you're telling me is my only option is to just get a new controller? And he said yes. And I was incredibly, incredibly upset with that response. So anyway, I hopped online to see if there was some kind of an executive relations option. I know a lot of bigger companies like Verizon and Lowe's, for instance, will have an executive relations team. And if you reach out to them, if customer service or the customer service supervisors aren't able to resolve an issue for you, typically the executive relations team can. And I've had many, many issues with Verizon, and one time with Lowe's, and then occasionally with National Tire and Brakes. Like I've dealt with a lot of big companies. Some of my friends like to call me Customer Service Alan because of this. So anyway, with that being said, I always get results though by speaking to some kind of an executive relations team, and I did not see that option for Sony. So, but what I did find is some contact info for some of the corporate executives, and I cannot remember the lady's name, but I found this one lady that was listed for like 4 different corporate positions on that page, and I figured, okay, she's probably a good person to reach out to. So anyway, I sent her a very lengthy, very detailed, well-worded, and not the slightest bit rude email explaining my entire situation to her. And I told her basically what I want to accomplish with this is, number one, well, first of all, I did prefaced everything saying I am not looking for something free at all. But basically the things I wanted to accomplish are, number one, I wanted her to somehow bend the rules of the system and be able to allow me to pay to have Sony repair my controller rather than me just having to purchase a new one. And I said the second thing that I would like to accomplish with this conversation is hopefully this situation with me could possibly make them wake up a little bit and maybe change that policy at a core level so somebody doesn't have to go up through the corporate chain like what I'm doing right now. But it's not right. It's absolutely not right that a company makes a product that when not abused is still wearing out after a little under 2 years, and they're not even willing to accept payment to repair it simply because it's out of warranty. Like, they will only do the free repairs within warranty. So anyway, I just sent that email a couple of hours ago. I don't expect a response anytime soon. Who knows? Maybe not at all. But hopefully I will get a response. You know, a lot of these other bigger companies that do have an executive relations team have been really good about that. So, but I had no idea with Sony. So we'll see how that goes. I did mention that, you know, I'd hate to take this to social media, and that I would like to resolve this peacefully. So once again, we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I've got some other options. One of the options is go to a local repair place. There's CPR, which is cell phone repair is what that stands for. There's also You Break, I Fix, which is another electronics repair. Those could potentially be pretty expensive because they are third-party repairs, but we'll see how that goes. And the other option is switch to a different controller altogether. I do have another Pro controller that is the Victrix BFG Pro, and it's got some rear paddles, so who knows? Maybe that'll work. But you know, to be honest, I'm really not sure what the latency is like, because the DualSense and the DualSense Edge have really, really low latency Bluetooth. And the Victrix BFG Pro has it utilizes 2.4G connection, which typically is faster than Bluetooth, but not always, just depending on the quality of the connection that's been built. And like I said, like first-party PlayStation controllers for the last couple of generations have had very, very low latency. Like I'm talking, I think 7 or 8 milliseconds, which is about I think a third of a frame, or it's probably a little more than a third of a frame, but yeah. So as a speedrunner, I would like to have the lowest latency possible. So I'm really hoping if I do try out the Victrix that it's going to have pretty comparable latency. But anyway, that's really the gist of what's going on. Those are my current options. You know, I just need to wait to hear back from Sony, or I need to switch to a different controller, or I need to look at a third-party repair place. But so hopefully I'll find something that works. But that's really all I have for you guys today. So until next time, stay Saxy.